Welcome back to the podcast. Now, getting straight into this, I wanted to talk about why you aren't losing weight, even though you feel like you're doing everything right. It's something I hear all the time. I'm training hard, I'm eating well, I've cut out carbs, I'm smashing my steps, but these damn scales are not moving, right? And few things are as annoying and frustrating as putting in the effort and seeing no results. And if you don't figure it out, it's only a matter of time before your desire to actually create any change nosedives and you just sack it off for good. So, we're going to walk through a simple checklist in this episode about the exact things that I would do with clients when things aren't quite moving at the rate we would want them to. Okay. So by the end of this, you will know where to look, what to tweak, and what's really going on. So, first of all, you've got to check your expectations. Okay. Before we even touch on calories, check your expectations. It might sound super boring, right? But it's one of the biggest killers of people's fat loss attempts. People expect too much too soon. They think weight loss should be linear, that every week the scale should drop neat and tidily. They think if they do the work for 3 weeks, they'll see their abs. That's just not how the human body works, unfortunately. The scales will fluctuate. Hormones, water, glycogen, digestion, especially if you're a female, your weight is going to bounce around with fat loss. Okay, if you expect a straight line, you're going to be very disappointed. Okay, and if you say, I need to see the scales move to stay motivated, then good luck sticking to anything long term because real results don't show immediately, unfortunately. Right? Think about business. Okay, you don't set up a company on Monday and expect to be a millionaire, billionaire by Tuesday. Okay, you put in months and years of hard work before you see the real payoff. Same with a relationship. You don't go on one date and then you're married the next fucking day. Okay, anything worthwhile takes consistent action before real results actually show up. Okay, fitness is no different. You will need to put in weeks and months of effort before you look in the mirror and think, holy shit, okay, I look so different. So, first of all, accept that. Okay, put your unrealistic expectations to one side. This is going to take longer than you think. Okay, and that's okay because most people massively overestimate what they will do in a week or two, but massively underestimate what they can do in 6, 8, 12 weeks. Okay, but you should be looking to live this way for your life anyway. Okay, this isn't a one and done kind of thing. We want to actually change your habits so that you can live life lean, right? That's what we want. But now let's get into like the more practical elements of this. Are you actually in a fucking deficit? Not I think I am, not I've cut bread, but genuinely in a deficit. Okay, because if you are, you will be losing weight. Okay, but so many people set this up wrong. They just pluck a number out their ass, right? They use what MyFitnessPal gave them. They copy what a friend is doing. They're not tracking at all. They're just fucking guessing. Okay, now we need you to actually understand, first of all, you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose fat. The easiest way to do that is to track your calories. Okay, if you're not sure how much you should be eating, then DM me calories and I'll send you over our calorie calculator with a few different nutrition tracking methods. Okay, now here's the deal. I'd be looking at around about a 20% deficit for most people. It's going to be quite aggressive, but for what I have found with clients, it's losing a little bit of body fat quicker generally leads to better results long term because they've got that immediate buy-in. Now, the calculator is not perfect. It's a total estimate, but it's a pretty sensible ballpark. Then what you need to do is utilize our 2 week rule. 2 weeks of genuine high level consistency, okay, where you absolutely nail it, then make an adjustment. So you test and adjust. Really, really nice and simple. And now we've got to look at what you're actually eating. Okay, calories are the main driver of fat loss, but if you are only focusing on the calorie content and not what you're eating, you're going to be making this way harder. Okay, so let's start with food volume, which is spoken about a lot, but it's still underrated. Okay, Fill your plate with high volume, low calorie foods, fruit, veg, soup, salad, high protein. Okay. Things that are going to keep you full. Okay. If you are going in and your meals are like a fucking croissant, right? It's not filling. You are going to massively struggle when it comes to like consistency with your diet. A lot of guys, they don't struggle necessarily to hit their protein count, but they do struggle on the food volume side of things beyond protein. Okay. So look at getting as much food on your plate as you can realistically. Next is protein, still super important and does, factor into food volume and satiety, right? But looking at around about 1 gram per pound of body weight works well for most people. Having slightly less won't kill you. Having more won't kill you. It helps with satiety, building muscle, maintaining muscle, and recovery, of course. And then the basics, okay? Having oily fish maybe twice a week, whole grains most days, decent fiber, simple stuff, but things that will make a huge difference in terms of fullness, in terms of how you feel and how you perform, right? You will have the if it fits your macros crude saying, as long as it fits your calories and macros, whatever. No, you should be eating good quality food. That should be a target for you. It absolutely should. Okay, 100% it should be a target for you. Okay, because here's the reality. Calories tell you if you will lose weight. Food quality decides whether you can stick to it without feeling like shit. And it'll also change the aesthetic look you get at the end. Okay, now look at when you're eating as well. Not in like a magical fat burning window kind of way. That's bollocks. In a consistency and adherence way. If your eating pattern is all over the gaff, right, it's much harder to control. If you have like one day, 3 main meals, the next day you're having 6 bloody snacks, and then you're raiding the cupboard at 10, 11 p.m., it is no wonder that you're finding things difficult. Find a routine that you can stick to. For some people, it's 3 meals and a snack. For others, it's 4 smaller meals. Okay. Some people like to delay their first meal, others don't. Consistency is going to make it way easier to manage hunger and understand what needs tweaking and when it needs tweaking in the day. And the tweaks that we do make would then be subtle. Okay. You don't need, when you do need to make a change, a whole new diet plan. Okay. If you're noticing that you're overeating, you're snacking in the evening, maybe you need a better quality, a better quality lunch. Maybe you need a better quality dinner that's higher volume, more filling. Okay, maybe you want to just purposefully add something in sweet after your dinner so that you're not over consuming and it's actually just planned in, right? If you're, say you're having a stir fry and it's 2 calorie dense, we can then just swap some noodles out for extra veg. Simple swaps like this will make a huge difference. Get consistent first, make tweaks second. Okay, massive overhauls are almost never actually necessary. Okay, at the beginning, potentially, right? But even then, making smaller tweaks is going to enable you to be consistent. And then we've got activity, which is the other side of the equation. Everyone talks about food, but remember, fat loss is always energy in versus energy out. And most of the out comes from your daily activity, not your gym session, right? Steps, walking, general movement, your non-exercise activity, thermogenesis. That's where the biggest difference lies. But there is a sweet spot. Too much cardio can lead to increased appetite, right? When you're doing 15, 16K steps a day or training like an absolute nutter, hunger can massively increase. Like a lot of marathon runners actually gain weight because their appetite outpaces their expenditure, right? So there is a potential sweet spot enough to support health and fat loss, but we don't want to do so much that you're constantly hungry. However, sometimes needs must, and you will have to push activity up beyond what you might want. But pushing harder isn't necessarily a bad thing as long as you're being sensible. And it will differ from person to person what that response is. Like when I was dieting, I was doing like 20,000 steps a day, daily cardio. My appetite was pretty fine, right? I just had poorer energy levels. So it will differ from person to person. Okay, now The last point here is to understand why you're eating. Okay. If you've nailed calories, nailed food quality, consistency, activity, the question is, what is the reason that you're actually struggling to stick to this? Most people know what to do, they just can't do it consistently. And that comes down to like psychology. Right? You're using food to cope with stress, boredom, rewarding yourself after like a difficult week of work. If this is the case, we've got to look at, right, when is this actually occurring? What is the cue for this behavior, right? When is it actually occurring? Is it like when you come home from work after a Friday night? What is the reward that you're chasing to de-stress, to relax, decompress, whatever it may be? And then how are you currently meeting that? What is the routine to meet that? And then instead of trying to eradicate it, look at how else you can meet the need through different means. Okay, so we're not completely getting rid of it. We're just meeting that same need through different means. And understanding and changing these things is what's going to really set you up for success long term. So hopefully this was useful. But if you go through this checklist, you tick every single box, you apply what you've learned in this episode, you will lose fat. It's not easy, but it is simple. Okay, and if you need any assistance putting this together, just reach out to myself saying Beachbody. I've got a full free course on there to teach you exactly what you need to do at each and every point. See you in the next one.